So Max Pies, being my great-grandfather, a little bit of history here. Max Pies came over from a very small village in Russia. He was around 19, 20 years old, and it was the early 1900s. There was also a childhood friend that came over with him by the name of Anna Wartzman. And if you're familiar with Batavia, you know there's another furniture store called Wartzman Furniture, owned by Harry Wartzman, who's a great guy. Anna Wartzman married Max Pies. So Harry and my dad are related. In any event, he comes over here, he and Anna get together, they get married, and they're trying to find their way. And as they're trying to find their way, Max Pies essentially becomes, he starts collecting junk along the south side. He walks around with a wagon, starts collecting stuff and fixes it up, sells it, and before you know it, he's finding his way in his new country, and he starts to develop somewhat of a reputation. So before you know it, that junk turns into bananas and other commodities. And before you know it, he had a little bit of a reputation. And one of the stories that stands out is he at one point started delivering some of these goods. And the story I heard was he was on his way to Medina area one night. It was raining. He was with a horse and buggy. I guess that would have been an all-night affair. And I guess the buggy broke down, and by the time he got back to Batavia, he realized for all that hassle, there wasn't a lot of money, profit involved for what he had just done. However, Anna, his wife, known for a time back then where most women were, you know, in the kitchen, taking care of the kids, she was a very personable, loving person that also was kind of shrewd and had a little bit of a business sense. So she actually ended up, she knew there was someone in the community that was interested in a chair they had at the house. Eventually, Max and Anna had 6 kids, but while they were trying to take care of their kids at the time, she ended up selling a chair for far what it was worth at the time. So when Max Pies returned, he realized that all that way to come back and forth for really not much profit, having set up camp somewhere in locally where you don't have to move too much was much more beneficial. So that helped jumpstart a little bit there. Another event I was told, which was a big catalyst in jumpstarting the business, was while Max and Anna were starting to, you know, develop a reputation in sales and whatnot, Max was approached by a guy on the south side who said that his wife had just left him and everything in the house reminded him of her. He was going to move on with his life and he wanted to sell everything. He offered to sell everything to Max Pies for $10. I don't know what the value of $10 would have been in the early 1900s, but Max had to go back to Anna and discuss it to see if they were going to make that investment. They inevitably did make that investment, and that was one of the little stories that also helped jumpstart the business at 400 South Jackson Street. They invested the money, they started up, and before you know it, the guy that walked around the south side with the wagon collecting junk was now in the furniture business, which dates back to roughly 1905. As generation 4 to come into this business, I worked here, you know, during college in the summer and in high school periodically, but I officially came into this business as the 4th generation in August of 2004. My grandfather, Sam, while I was in high school and college, you know, he didn't really put pressure on me, but it seemed like a no-brainer to him that I would come into this business. With my dad, he was much more flexible of saying, figure out what you want to do and wherever, you know, wherever your path leads you. When my son Sean was born, I was living in Las Vegas at the time. I was in the casino business for 11 years, which included Carnival Cruise Lines, Reno, Tahoe, Las Vegas. And after having, I have 2 boys, Sean and Sam. After having Sean in Las Vegas, I realized, my wife Lisa and I realized that was not the greatest place that we wanted to raise our son, and it seemed like a no-brainer at that time to come back. However, it did take 11 years for me to figure that out. Even though I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with myself, it's been great to come back here and be able to raise kids here in Batavia. One of the things that also is unique about the longevity of our business is, despite being here for roughly 100 17 years. We have also been in the same location. Even though the building we've added on to, we have been in the same location, which is a bizarre location. It's in a dead end, in a residential neighborhood across from an elementary school. And with all the challenges we face, whether winter, spring, summer, or fall, whether the roof is leaking, or whether God knows what's happening, we have a staff that all somehow works together to become cohesive to get things done. And it can be very stressful at times, it can be very fun at times, it can be very difficult at times, but I'm very proud of our staff and the way we work together through thick and thin.
Hi, I am Phil Pies, your old furniture man. And when I say old, I mean old. I don't look old, but 80 years old, believe it or not, in May. I look 90? No, 80's fine. I came to the store in 1970. I was in the Air Force in California, 66 to 70, after college. And when I arrived here, there was Max, grandfather, Sam, father, and me. It was tough at first, very tough. I was a new guy here, and my ideas weren't that great with theirs, and we fought, and there were times I wanted to leave. I did leave once for about 4 days, and I came back, believe it or not. And from that point on, it was fine. We worked very, very long hours, 9 to 9. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday also. And it was tough. I was married then, and the wife didn't like me working all those hours, but it was either this or that. So it all came together after that, and here we are 53 years later. I'm still here, and that's it. That's how the whole ball of wax got going. Furniture Man came from Tom Brown. We were filming, and he said, "You are the Furniture Man," and that's how it started. And wherever I go now, they say, "Hey, it's the Furniture Man," and you know, I've grown used to it now. I love it, yeah. And that's how it got started. Our success is based on a great staff. We have the best staff ever. Great sales staff, truck drivers, carpet layers, salesmen. This is what it's all about. And of course, our office staff. Our office staff is wonderful. We are very lucky in that respect. We can trust everybody, and that's the name of the game. The secret in the bee business, one thing is my handsome face. Secondly, I think it's a certain point in life, you strive for certain things, you work hard, and that's what keeps you going. And we try and take care of everybody, make them all happy. That's the main thing. That's how you stay in business. And so far for us, it's worked. You're the people who put us here and will leave us here. Thank you.
The 2022 Business of the Year, Max Pies Furniture.